And here we are, back again. And here she is, feisty as ever. You can tell by my black eye. Already fisticuffs.
I keep telling you, you make altogether too much fuss, Keith. Much too much fuss.
Yeah. She actually buys me a steak afterwards for lives.
Don't bank on it.
Okie dokie. Here we go. What have you got for us this week?
Well, before I tell you the news, there's something that I would really like to talk about, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Because I had an absolutely lovely day last Monday when I was taken out for lunch by our young friend, Max Hurd. He said, now you get a bus to Haywards Heath, 166. I will meet you at the bus station. I'm taking you for lunch. This was very, very nice indeed. I had no idea where I was going, what I was doing. Well, the drive on the bus there was so beautiful, Keith. You know, the leafy lanes. And we've still got a little bit of countryside left, thank God. You know, it was such an absolute joy. When I got there was Max waiting, as he said, at the bus stop for me because I didn't have a clue where to go. Anyway, this was right in the center of the shopping center there at Haywards Heath. We crossed the road and he took me into a restaurant which resembled one of those French bistros, you know, that you go in that sell all beautiful things, you know, organic honeys and lovely teas. Well, we sat down. I was so impressed with just walking in there. And we sat down and I had a really terrific lunch. It was absolutely delicious. I mean, the service was terrific. I had mushroom and gruyere sourdough bread that was fresh baked. Oh, it was absolutely lovely. And I had a cracking pastry afterwards.
What was the name of this restaurant?
The name of this restaurant is called Hart's County Stores, Haywards Heath. And they recently won the Best Cafe in Sussex award, which was well deserved. It's a family-run restaurant, very, very efficient, and the service was beautiful. The food was terrific, and I had mushroom and gruyere cheese on the sourdough bread, and it was nice. And then I had a most gorgeous pastry, you know, and I came out in a lovely mood. It was such a beautiful day, and I can't compliment this place enough. As I say, family-run restaurants, it's definitely a must on your must list. You must go there because I'm going to go there again very, very soon. So now I thought I would tell you something nice before I get into all the horrors of the world, darlings. You know,
Right.
You know, see, I do think of nice things to tell you. Right, here I go. Canada. One of your favorite places, darling. Yes, Canada.
Well, not the Canada that I left.
No.
Never mind.
I don't want to say it's finished, but a lot of people would say it is. Canada, Trudeau, that dreadful, terrible person, expands the MAID, MAID. That's the program to encourage people to commit assisted suicide. You know, they've been pushing that now for the last couple of years.
And what's it meant to do?
It's called MAID, and it's a program that will help you commit suicide.
Oh, right.
Assisted suicide.
Yeah.
Yes.
Assisted suicide, yeah.
Yes. 10,000 people died through assisted suicide. This is eugenics. Canada is more enthusiastic than any other country in the world. It seems doctors are happy about this. It's just like Germany in the last World War. They have expanded the program to allow drug addicts and mental illness to seek government suicide. Also, this is available to troops, soldiers that come back from the war and they're traumatized after whatever they've seen, so they're encouraged to commit suicide. Also, they have a little sort of place there where all the drug addicts, the drug addicts can go, almost like you're encouraging them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they practically give the drugs away, I think. And then when they're so addicted, they suggest suicide. Get people in debt, then suggest suicide. Nothing more than eugenics. It's cheaper to kill them than to cure them. Yes.
Wow, that's frightening.
When is something going to happen there? This has been going on far too long.
Well, I do know, because as you know, I've got a lot of relatives in
Absolutely.
Canada, that there is a distinct unease, and that my sister-in-law, who is one of the nicest, calmest, decent people you would know, is up in arms about everything that's happening there. So I have to fall down on the side of my God, exactly what you're asking. What is happening in Canada? Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know. But what's happening all over the world, Keith, you know. Anthony Fauci, this is the man who, invented, all sorts of things over there, and the COVID injections, this is the chappie. Should be in prison by now, but nobody seems to do anything about it. Anthony Fauci to be awarded with the prestigious ethics prize for saving millions of lives. Comment: what is wrong with America? Well, I must agree. But then,
who made that comment?
I don't know, somebody after this article. But how can we criticize America when we're allowing what we're allowing here?
Well, the world is in a mess, that's for sure.
Totally, yes. Oh, yes, and Canada too. There are now drugs for 6-year-olds. Yes, finish with that. Crispin Blunt MP. Crispin Blunt MP. Crispin threatens to prosecute UK government over Israel war crimes, accusing the government of war crimes because international law says Israel is in the wrong. Yes?
What international law says what?
That Israel is in the wrong.
Well, I think he has to be very careful there, because what is international law? As I understand it, international law is determined in The Hague. What he's saying is the United Nations are saying that it is. The United Nations has no power in this area. And if he's being accused by the United Nations, then he's being wrongly accused.
Well,
yeah, no, I mean, you're right to raise it. You're right to raise it, because it doesn't matter which side of the divide you are. Injustice is injustice. May I tell you something else that bothers me? And we did talk about this a little earlier. Is one of our other correspondents, and that is, as I understand it, Crispin Blunt has been charged with rape some years ago.
Well, was he found guilty?
No, he's only now been accused of rape. It's only just coming out now that he was accused of rape. What bothers me is that these accusations refer to something that were 15, 20 years ago.
Yes.
What really bothers me is, and I said to Harry this morning, is I think back to some of the things that I did when I was 20 or 21, which would be totally unacceptable now. What right does this generation have to judge me what I did according to the mores 30 or 40 years ago? And we are increasingly doing this. And I just think that it is absolutely wrong to do that. And I just hope, like hell, that in 50 years' time, is that they are judged on what they do now, which will be totally different in terms of morality, etc. Then, and then they'll know what it's like.
Absolutely dreadful. I mean, this is an older man. I mean,
Yeah.
the publicity for his wife, his children. I mean, it's awful. I mean, why wasn't he charged when he did that years and years ago? Why bring it up now? I'm not going to win any friends by saying that, I'm sure. But these ladies that leave this sort of thing too long, why? Why did they? Why did they leave it too long? Why now, when they want to blacken the man's reputation because he seems to be doing a bit of good?
Yes, that's right. And Harry also, because we talked about Lord Bramall and that paedophile claim from that fraudster that Scotland Yard listened to. But as Harry said, the higher you get and the better reputation you get, the more people there are who want to try and bring you down.
Oh, of course. I mean, you stick your head just a little bit above the precipice.
Yep.
And there's the old song too, let your hair down just an inch or two. They invent a special name for you.
Oh, gosh.
Do you remember that song?
No, I don't remember
yes,
it. Yeah. Glad that you reminded me. It was very appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, oh, boy. Yeah. But this is all, the man might have a very good case here. So we've got to attack him, his reputation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, there's another one here. Colonel Douglas McGregor, he's American, warns we are watching Armageddon unfolding before our eyes. The Israelis don't want to talk peace. They are fighting with emotion, not with intelligence. Israel wants to put chemical weapons into tunnels. The Hamas tunnels are enormous. Israel is not equipped to handle this. Hamas is leading Israel into a trap. There's not massive support for Israel either. This could be the total destruction of evil. Well, I have thought this from the very, very beginning. I don't know if I mentioned it on any of my shows with you, Keith, but I think they're on very, very dangerous territory here. I'm going to, if you don't mind, go over some old material, Keith, that I did last week.
No, please do.
Regarding Israel.
Can I just say, in terms of what this chap has said, is that the Americans found out the Vietnamese did the same thing with tunnels.
I was going to say exactly the same thing because I spent a year in Saigon.
Yes,
so
you did.
I know a little bit about the situation there, and that was what defeated the Americans. They couldn't handle these tunnels because they were everywhere. And history does tend to repeat itself.
Well, I mean, particularly when it comes to either defensive or, for that matter, offensive move. The sapper, as it were, is king. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think they've made a colossal mistake in what they're doing. Colossal mistake, but there is so much skullduggery that has gone before this. We have, I think it's been planned for a long time. And I think now that Iran has come on the scene, and they're not too friendly. And, like Syria and some of these other smaller nations, some years back, they were very easy to deal with, but now they have their own armies. They've got their own atomic bombs. And they're not so easy to deal with. America has come on the scene because Israel is is useful for carrying something. I don't know what it is. I've got to check that out. And they have already put troops onto Israel soil. They said they're just practicing, but whatever. And I think a few battleships have been sent down there. But the fact that Iran has now come under, I think it's making it terribly dangerous, Keith.
Yes, it is. I mean, I think the situation is very dangerous, and it's interesting that you raised this because the diplomatic community has been warning that this could act as a sort of a suction, a magnet, to pull everybody in and create a much bigger conflict, if not a world war.
Absolutely, and very, very dangerous. Yeah. Very dangerous.
Which would suit President Putin admirably.
He's delighted about the whole thing. Yeah. Naturally, he's, I'm sure he opened a bottle of champagne or vodka, whatever they're on these days. What have we got? Yes, I'm going to go over this stuff. How now we're into sort of another vein of things now that Israel have put boots on the ground over there. The other stuff is trying to be pushed down the line. No way am I going to allow it to do that all the time. Someone wants to listen to me. You see, I can't help forgetting that Netanyahu, Israel's leader, let those people in deliberately. There is no question of doubt about that. Now then, the thing is, 80%, half a percent, say 45% of Israelis agree with this, and they are demonstrating, big demonstrations, saying he must go, he must go. This was before he attacked Gaza, and now there are more intense things. Say because Gaza said, cut the crap, and we will give you your hostages. But he wouldn't take that deal. He was insistent on going in and slaughtering these women, the children. I mean, you see the debris on the internet, and it looks like he's already dropped a hydrogen bomb. I mean, it's the devastation is ridiculous. And you imagine how many people are buried under there. I found it so upsetting. So much so that I was going to call you and say, I'm sorry, I can't do your show for you, Keith. I went into one and I had to pull myself together because indulging in what they're doing, one, when I will become very, very ill, and two, I won't be able to do what I'm put on this earth to do, and that is to
I mean, your role is to be as dispassionate as possible so that you can pass these things on.
Absolutely. Israel. A summary of things that happened in the week before the bloodshed in Israel. 1, 10 days before the killing of innocent civilians, Egypt warned Israel. They took no notice. 2 days before Hamas' deadly cross-border raid, Egypt once again warned them. Israel warned Israel about the potential violence. 3, 2 days before the Israeli rave massacre, where at least 260 people were killed, the organizers moved the location of the festival to within earshot of the Gaza Strip. Now, why would they do that? For, oh yes, another bit of news. One lady was in the bunker room of her home, and it took the military 9 hours to rescue her. I find all this very, very strange and very, very weird, that sensitivity that Israel is supposed to have. You know, where we are so prepared, and you can see it from the air, you can see a mouse cross that border, and all hell would go off, and the guards are changed twice a day, protecting that border. Where were they? Why did it take them so long to come and try and help? What was that all about? The night shift is on constant alert. What happened? How did a Palestinian tractor penetrate the Gaza boundary without being noticed by security? It happened when Israel forces engaged in fierce gun battles with Palestinian fighters in Kibbutz, in Kibbutz Be'er, and fired indiscriminately at both fighters and their Israeli prisoners. They eliminated everyone, including the hostages. This woman told Israeli radio there was very, very heavy crossfire and even tank shelling. The woman, 44-year-old mother of 3, Yasmin Porat, said that prisoners said that she was taken prisoner and had been held by the Palestinians for several hours and treated humanely. She had fled the nearby Nova rave, and they picked her up. A recording of her interview from the radio program Hoboka Hayes this morning, in brackets, hosted by Aryan Golan on state broadcasting, Khan has been circulating on social media. The interview has been translated by electronic Intifada. You can listen to this with English subtitles in this video of the woman, and the transcript is at the end of the article. Go to davidike.com and you will see what this woman is saying, that the Israeli soldiers slaughtered a lot of their own people in their indiscriminate firing. Oh, this is very, very heavy. I went to the David Icke channel on Iconic, and his son, Gareth Icke, David Icke's son, Gareth Icke, was interviewing an Israeli journalist, a heavyweight journalist, I can tell you, Keith, called Soshi Herosko, said from Israel that Hamas was founded and funded by Israel and America. Israel is second stage of Gaza assault as UN warns of civil order breakdown. Netanyahu said that the war will be long and hard, and he is going to wipe the Palestinians off the planet. This woman was very, very distressed when she was giving this information, and I couldn't take it all down, Keith. I just didn't have the time to take down everything that she said. But I would really advise people to go to that channel and see that interview with Soshi Herosko, highly acclaimed female journalist. It was terribly, terribly emotional. But the information that she gave out was absolutely incredible, I tell you. So please go there, I beg of you.
Was she just commentating, or was there anybody in that program to challenge her?
No one on there to challenge her.
Okay.
No. She made sense. Yes. Israelis protesting last night in Tel Aviv in front of the Ministry of Defense, demanding the return of hostages and the resignation of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is Israel, posted by a man called Sain Penny. We awaken to more scenes of horror in Gaza that melt your heart. Only when we awaken to the global force that feeds off death, destruction, and misery, and so creates it, will we see the insanity of fighting each other while the strings of all are held by the same hands. Of course. Yes. Massive bombing in Gaza. They cut off the internet connection. No updates on what's happening in Gaza. Stand for what is right. Even if you stand alone, this is not the time to stand silent. Let the world know what's happening in Gaza, please. This is from David Icke's books. The man who has been proved right again and again. David has been warning us for nearly 30 years of coming global Orwellian state in which a tiny few would enslave humanity through control of finance, government, media, and a military police, Gestapo, overseeing 24/4 surveillance of the microchipped population. He has said that physical reality is an illusion, and what we think is the world is a holographic simulation or matrix created by non-human force to entrap human perception in ongoing servitude. They called him crazy, insane, a lunatic, and he was subjected to decades of ridicule, dismissal, and abuse. Oh, how things change. The top magazines are agreeing that there might be something in this business of we're not really here. It's all a thing, reckoned by A1, artificial intelligence, which David said 30 years ago was coming. It's very interesting. It's a little hard for me to grasp and understand, so I have to reread these things many times before the penny drops, so to speak. But
one of our correspondents earlier in the week, well, it was last week actually, because today is Monday, he said, what is to deny that it's not a parallel universe? Just because it seems incredible doesn't mean to say that this isn't accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very, very deep subject, but I think there's a tremendous amount in it, tremendous amount that we are under the condition of another force, a very, very inhuman, dangerous force that has deliberately changed our perception of what life is. Makes a lot of sense to me, especially when they bring on these things that these kids watch, where you're doing battle or you're doing something else, and they leave it on for a long, long time. Now, when they come to take this off, they have adjusting to life the way they say it is here. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do.
It's like a brainwashing thing. You leave one of these things on long enough, and you will think, that that is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I mean, your argument and that of David Icke is perfectly logical. It's up to the individual as to whether they take your side or some other argument. I mean, that is our concept of humankind at the moment.
Yes.
But it's quite right and proper that you should voice what your argument is.
Yes. Anyway, once I get into David, that's a show. That's a show gone, Keith. You know, I want to concentrate more on what is happening over there in Gaza, because Netanyahu is a member of this force, and he hates Jewish people. He is out to destroy Jewish people.
Why would he do that since he's head of their state?
Well, to start a world war, for one, to start World War III, which they badly want, so that these monsters can bring in this one world order, one world military. They would say, your governments are terrible, everything's awful, you must have a one world order, one world military, a one world dictatorship.
Well, now, okay.
This is the whole idea of a third world war.
Yeah, but in the long run, people have got to be convinced. Do you think that people will be convinced by this argument?
I think a lot of people will be. The more we try to get that message out, to get people thinking, because they're already thinking, I promise you, Keith, that something is not right. They don't know what it is, and they don't know what to object to, because you get the people that say there will always be wars. Why? Why should there always be wars? Why? Well, because there's always been wars. Okay, well, tell me how it would be if there wasn't wars. And they have no idea how to explain it, because they have been indoctrinated for hundreds of years that we have to have war, that we have to destroy one another. Now, then this Netanyahu, who works for the cult, deliberately let those people in so that people would be in sympathy with Israel for the destruction that these Hamas people did. He's working hand in hand with them. They're two of a kind. So that he would have an excuse to go in and bomb and destroy.
So you think it's a conspiracy with
Hamas.
Netanyahu?
Absolutely, totally, without a shadow of a doubt. Now they're saying, well, you know, he will be, you know, put in trial after the war. He's going to make this war last for as long as he wants. And now America's come on board. He had no trouble dragging that out. The same as they've done in the Ukraine. Exactly the same thing, because war is, believe it or not, is very profitable, as we all know. Mm-hmm. Very, very profitable. And this man is an evil, evil force that has allowed these people to come in and kill and murder his own people that he is supposed to love. It's supposed to be his country. He hates the Jews with a passion, and the sooner they realize that, darling, the better, because he's leading those people off a cliff. I promise you. I promise you. Because I think it's the Jews that are going to be destroyed in this world.
It's an interesting thesis. I do agree with you that there are certain things, such as how did Hamas just simply walk over the border when it's one of the most controlled borders in the world? Is that is inexplicable, and I think that many commentators have asked that.
But nobody seems to come forward and have an explanation except the people that know what's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, perhaps we only the inner circle know the explanation.
Of course,
that's why people are coming.
Certainly they do.
Yeah, I mean, with all due respect,
Britain knows it too. Known all over the place, but they're going in. We've had this conversation before. They're going into Iran, and that's a pretty big place. and Iran is well equipped.
Oh, indeed it is.
I mean,
Indeed it is.
Iran is not skint by any means, and I like when they went into Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They didn't do so well, did they?
Well, no, I mean, we have a very poor track record of overseas adventures. In fact, one that you are very closely associated with is Vietnam.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I was there for quite a long time.
Well, an interesting morning again. Is a lot for you to ruminate over. We've been going 35 minutes, believe it or not. Time races
does
by,
fly, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed. Is there anything else, Liza?
A million and one things, but I've said enough for today. Keith.
Okay. Well, we'll see you this time next week.
Are you sure?
Well, I hope so.
We've got the heave ho from here, haven't we?
I mean, yes. I mean, let me just explain that. I mean, we've been aware for some time, but it was not in our remit to say. But now it's public knowledge, I think, and the very nice people who own this hotel, after 35 years of running it, got tired of it, the responsibility, and have sold it. And although it will close its doors next week on the 4th of November, it's not likely to open again for several months as the new people refurbish it and get it ready for occupancy. So it means that Mirador at the moment is homeless. However, kindly, we've had 2 or 3 groups and organizations to come forward and say that they would be happy to house us. So I think now what we have to do is to sit down and decide which is the best option, which we will do. So we're not going away. We're just moving our headquarters.
Can't get rid of us that
easy. Right, so there we are. This is the last Monday out of the White Hart Hotel, as far as we're aware, and we will be back. Liza will be back next Monday, and with more on undoubtedly events will have gone forward on Gaza, but some of the other stuff that she uncovers by very diligent research and chatting to people who normally would not be heard in the light of day. So we'll that's it for us for today, and we will be back. Well, we will be back tomorrow at 10:30 because Melissa Conti is going to give us some idea, a feel for what's happening in New York on All Souls Day, or Halloween as we now know it. And so we will broadcast for a short period of time, but the rest will be a recording of today. We will be back though on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. And until then, in reality, Toodle Pip, we'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for